Many times we've mistaken it to only be us, or that only happens on TV, or that only happens on the news, but it's your sister, it's your mother, they're your cousins that it happens to. And it just makes me so sad and breaks my heart that so many times we get tricked into keeping quiet and not saying one word about things that are actually going on in the world. We act like it doesn't happen, that people don't get abused, that men and women don't get abused daily, but it does happen. So I made this in an attempt to reach out to so many other people and show so many other women specifically that there's life out there, that there's more to your life than just what this person is trying to make you do every day, or how this person makes you feel every day. So I just have some questions that people wrote into me, and now I'm just going to answer them for you guys about my journey, my specific life, and how I handled it, and why I finally let go of whatever it was.
Fights till I found leaves the 90.
We did have one mutual friend that I went to high school with, and he went to college with him, and so that's how we kind of, can say met each other. I'm not sure if he suspected anything, but I'm pretty sure he knew his reputation. I'm not gonna say that he knew he was like this, because I'm pretty sure he never assumed that one of his homeboys, his brother, best friend, was somebody who abused women. I'm pretty sure he heard about it, but I was never told anything. I was never, asked about it by him specifically.
When I was your friend.
I'm just now speaking about it because, I know it's 5 years later, and to some people that's just like, really 5 years later, why didn't you do it sooner? But it takes time to get your mind right after mental abuse, physical abuse, and emotional abuse. I'm not gonna say you're never the same person, but it definitely takes a lot out of you. Just coming out of that, it's kind of like you're back in the real world and you're seeing things for what they should be. So it's just like, it took years, and I'm still working on myself. I'm still working on my confidence. I'm still working on who I am as a woman. Like, this is even hard for me making a video, but I know that I'm supposed to do this to help so many other people. So I'm reaching out because I see so many more stories, and it makes me so sad to see that women could never reach out, could never remove themselves out of that environment, and then they end up having families with these people, and they end up having and living in this world to where they feel like it's impossible to escape.
Never-ending, reckless love.
I feel like in time to change the person I wouldn't. So no, I wouldn't, and that sounds crazy. But I wouldn't change the person I dated, because I really feel like me coming out of it made me who I am today. So I wasn't happy I went through it. And I'm not going to say that, 99.9% of it were bad times in the relationship. But it definitely brought me out of my shell once I came out of the relationship. I think it kind of made me value life more. The entire relationship, being with him, finding somebody that treated me good, treated me way better. So I wouldn't change the person at all, because it's showing me how I can help other women. Like, it feels like it's my calling. I went through this for a reason, for a purpose.
There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down.
The scariest time for me, they were all scary, but another scary time I can say was, it was an incident, and it was basically, something happened, and I was trying to leave. I was trying to not let the situation escalate, because I knew how it could end up being. So I got in my car, and the sunroof was actually open. And when the sunroof was open, I started to reverse, not realizing it was open, that he left it open. And so when it was open, all of a sudden, and I'm reversing, I feel like some kind of a fist hitting my head, the top of my head, just punching me in the head as I was reversing. So I had to stop my car, and I couldn't shut it. Every time I tried to shut it, it would open back up, because his hand was through the sunroof. So I ended up getting out the car. And so next thing I know, I'm running around the house doing laps, trying to outrun. And finally I got pushed to the ground, and somehow I got back up, and I started racing for the front door. And when I got into the house, what I did was just locked myself inside of the bathroom. And somehow, I think during that time, I had his phone. I locked myself in the bathroom, and his mom actually ended up calling. And I lowered my voice, and I was just telling her, like, your son is abusing me. He just put his hands on me. And she was just like, where is he? And I was just like, he's outside the bathroom door. And so I figured out that he heard me telling her, and so I had to hang the phone up because I was like scared. Like, what if he broke through the bathroom door? What if he kicked the door down? Whatever. And so I ended up hanging up the phone, and she called back multiple times. So I had to end up coming out of the bathroom, and when I came out the bathroom, I was just telling him, I was like, you need to go or else I'm going to call the police. And when I said that, he was like, if you want to call him, call him. So he snatched his phone and he dialed 911, and I didn't realize he did that. And by accident, I hit send to call. And so when I ended up hitting send, I had to tell them, like, hey, I need an officer over here to basically escort somebody. So when they showed up to the house, the officer was just asking me, like, hey, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, I just want my car keys back. And so he was looking at me, and he was just like, is that really all that it is? And I was just like, yeah, I want my car keys back, because at that time I was just like kind of scared. I was just like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to end up seeing you again somehow. So I was scared to send, get him taken away, go to jail. So the officer ended up, getting my car keys back for me, and I was able to get in my car and leave. Nobody in my family knew what was going on. My best friends didn't even know what was going on. I was able to mask it, like, just life was okay, but I was like this mean person. I was just this evil person. I can say that his mom knew with that last incident with me running around and calling the cops. She even called me at one point and told me that he needed help, that he needed to go into some type of facility.
You have been so.
So the first time that he was abusive, I think that when we first started dating, it was like maybe 2 weeks into it, and he was just telling me, I was just like, oh, have you ever, I don't know why I asked the question, but I was just like, have you ever done anything to a girl, a lady, whatever? And he was just telling me that his baby mother pissed him off, that she did something and it provoked him, so all he did was push her. And I didn't think about it, and I should have thought about it that day.
Deserve it, still you give yourself.
I did forgive him. I'm not gonna say it took me a really long time, but I did forgive him. I started going to church, and during church, I think I found my self-worth, and it made me realize that he doesn't know who he is, and he doesn't know what he deals with, that he has internally, mentally, that all those things are affecting him. So I was able to forgive him through doing all of that. People make mistakes, and maybe that's not the person who he really is. And I know it sounds crazy, but everybody has space to change, and maybe that's a part in his life that he's going to be able to change, so that he doesn't hurt anybody else. But at the end of the day, I can't move forward with not forgiving him and what he did to me. How can I go out there and tell other women to help, to forgive whoever abuses them when I'm not forgiving the person that did it to me? At the end of the day, I want him to be happy. I want him to treat women better. I want to be able to move on with my life and do great things with my life without having this burden on my back of not forgiving him. So that's all the questions that I got in my email. So if anybody else has any more questions, the email will be below in the description. If you guys have any more questions for me, if you want to know anything else about how you can get through whatever you're going through, just feel free to email me, and stay tuned for part 3. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope you guys learned something.
This girl.
If you can go back and
start over. Look at me. You can't
Hold
look
on,
at them.
Ready? Somebody asked, why are you just speaking out about it now? Why are you just not reaching out to others?
Nisa.
What, am I not supposed to do that?
I just did that. She just did that. It's in parentheses, just as a side note.
Oh, sorry.
Thank God for editing.
Okay. When was a scary time that it happened?
I'm done with her.
Is that what the question says?
No, we already did it. And she don't even pay attention. You know what? Sit out in the background.
No, I got it.